of Hi-Rez fumbles. 2012, never played the game. The game received extremely low or no updates, leading to the entire player base quitting. Hi-Rez eventually decided to dedicate all resources to Smite to save the company. 2016, Jetpack Fighter. Proceeds from Smite were spent on a mobile game which lacked updates and content, leading to its abandonment. 2016 Paladins, initially a success and the only other game that Hi-Rez has turned a profit. However, after early success, updates, and community responsiveness slowed dramatically while most players left, it still has a small but dedicated fan base. Paladins is not a fumble. Smite or Hi-Rez just entered a category with much better games and just got outdone by Overwatch with a much larger company. They wouldn't be able to keep up with the same like you're not taking from the Overwatch player base by playing Paladins. This is not a fumble. This did well for a while, and it just has not stood the test of time, which a lot of games don't. Smite Rivals. Proceeds from Smite went to spent on this mobile game, which was often confused with Hand of the Gods. It was not immediately successful, and as a result, received no updates. Quickly abandoned. This game was so fun. Hand of the Gods was not a mobile game. Hand of the Gods was not a mobile game. I'm not sure, Sable. Hand of the Gods was not a mobile game. This was a regular game. And this game was incredibly fun. I think the issue is they changed the core function of the game way too many times. They changed the core function of the game way too many times, and I think what you consistently see from Hi-Rez, this is Hi-Rez's main issue. They put out games way too early in the dev cycle to start trying to immediately recoup the losses of the investment that they've put in, and they release games before they are ready to be seen. So people get on and they go, this game's great, and they play it, but then it only has like 2 to 4 weeks to maybe 6 weeks of content worth playing, and then it's like, so now what? And then that ultimately makes it fail, right? If you look at any games they've fully fleshed out and given you fully, they do well. But like Realm Royale, we caught it early, and it didn't really need much because a battle royale doesn't need much, right? It's just a map, some RNG fucking stuff, and then you fight, right? That's it. So we didn't. But then when they started to actually dev it, they made a bunch of changes which made it die. Hand of the Gods, you saw really early, and then all of a sudden they changed the way the whole game worked, and then changed the way the whole game worked again. And this game was fun as fuck. I would play this game right now. This game was fun, genuinely fun. This game was fun. We get games too early in the dev cycle, and I think, and the issue is, it's not the devs. The devs again are making every single one of these games I've played. I'm like, yo, this game's fun as fuck. Every single time. Paladins was fun. Hand of the Gods was fun. Rogue Company, I didn't play it. Divine Knockout was fun. That we always get the game so early in the dev cycle that it comes out and it's almost unanimous. Rough weeks for Smite, but I'm genuinely having a ton of fun on Smite 2. Average 1 to 2 matches per day. It's been great. Brother, I stream. Welcome to the stream, by the way. I agree with you. I've played Smite 2 more than anybody else in the world. Right? I have played more Smite 2 and streamed more Smite 2 than anybody in the world. I am having a fantastic time. However, I really would like for the corporate side of Hi-Rez to stop cutting out. I would like for them to stop cutting our devs at the knees. That's what I would like, okay? I would like for them to shut up, let our devs cook, stop giving us the game too early, because that is the issue every time here. Let me go over the last 30 days here, right? Hold on. Let me go over the last 30 days. Come on, load. There you go. Now hold on. Hold on here. Airtime. The top person doesn't count. They're live 24/7. Okay, so I'm fourth. Fourth most. Fourth most streamed. What was I looking at the other day? Either way, fourth most streamed, 224 hours. Smite 2. I'm still enjoying it a lot. But this is the issue with Smite overall. Or sorry, with Hi-Rez overall, not Smite. The devs consistently cook up good games. Every single one of these games that I played, it was like, yo, this is fun. This is fun. Paladins was fun. Hand of the Gods was fantastic. A lot of people said they liked Rogue Company. I don't know. I don't know enough about it. Divine Knockout was good. Smite 2 is good. I think what happens is they give it, so like let's say a dev cycle on average is 2 years before you see a game. They keep giving it to us at year number 1 because they want to start making money on it now, so they continually do this prepaid alpha thing, which I understand is a consistent thing that a lot of companies do, but it's like they're so focused on immediately recouping the return on that initial investment of making the game that they give us the game without anything to do. Because here's the timeline, and I bet you could go to any game and you could scroll back and you could look at the feedback and you could look at what people said about the game when it first came out, and what you'll see, I think, across every game is immediate interest, right? I think about Hand of the Gods. It was people were making videos on it. You're like, oh, this game's so dope. It's so fun, right? It's so fun. And then like 3 weeks goes by, and it's like, well, now what? And they're like, oh yeah, stuff's coming. And it's like, okay. Divine Knockout, this game was really fun. It was released during a time where Nintendo was fucking its esports scene. It was making people not want to play Smash. There was a few other games that were just kind of in not hiatus mode, but like that one Warner Brothers game, that fighting game was kind of failing and being completely redone. They came in during a perfect. You could not come in to a fighting game scene or another category at a more perfect time. They just didn't have anything ready. They had nothing ready. I got on DKO, and I couldn't even answer it in that moment. Well, when I say not want to play Smash, I'm saying like if there was a tournament in DKO, you would have grabbed some Smash players. It was making people not want to compete. Like, right? Like, yeah, I guess people could just get on and want to play it, but that's irrelevant. This would have been opportunities for people who wanted an opportunity to compete because, you know, like all the fighting game scene players, they all compete in all of them. If there's nothing going on any other games, and this is the only thing, right? If we didn't pay Tim the Tatman any money, and we put that immediately into an esports project 6 months down the line with plans of like a new god every 2 weeks, and you know, like $500,000 tournament, you would get some top names. You wouldn't have to pay Tim. You would get lunch, Hungry Box, yeah, in the that Wolf guy. Like you would get all the top players playing the game because, yo, there's $500,000 on the line. I could probably get good enough to win this 1v1 tournament, right? You would get that. You wouldn't even have to pay them. You would just say, you can get paid if you win, right? But, like, this came out, and I played it, and we played it for a few days, and I was like, yo, this is really fun. But then somebody was like, you want to get on? I'm just like, not really. And there was no reason. And like, somebody even asked why. And I was like, I honestly don't know. Like, every time I'm on it, I'm having fun. There's not a time where I'm playing it, and I'm like, I kind of want to get off, right? There's never, like, every time I got on, I was like, yo, this is fun as fuck, right? This is really fun. Hitting the skill shots, right? And knocking people out was really fun. The dynamic, just very the simplicity of it was very fun, right? Just like a regular attack and a heavy attack, then an alt, right? Like, and then, you know, some jump. Like, it was simple enough to be a super low skill floor, but a decently high skill ceiling with positioning and you know, when to use abilities and when to dodge. It was very simple, but yet very fun. And there wasn't anything to do. There was no ranked scene. Gods weren't coming out fast enough. It's like they this is what I think I've narrowed it down to as to why these games fail. They fail because they push for monetization. They push for early access to alpha and monetizing it before it's ready. They push the devs to get something out, and then they tell them to release it before we have the opportunity to have enough content to be interesting for more than 3 days. Like, you played DKO, and but then like after like, you know, the 30th game, you're like, well, now what? What am I playing for? There's not really progression, like, kind of. There's no ranked. There's no esports scene to like pursue, even if I don't plan to pursue it. One that exists gives me the perception or the illusion of progress towards something, towards a higher skill. It didn't matter. And then it's like, well, I could, you know, get good at these new characters. There was only 6 or something like that, right? 7, and then like one wasn't coming out for like a month and a half, 2 months. No, like, it's just like they released the games at 12 months of development, and the community's not ready until it's like 24 months of development, and it always dies in that first 3 months. I think that's what I've kind of narrowed down just looking at this list, is the devs always kill it. They come out with fun-ass games. The concept is fun. The things they developed are fun. There's usually some meta issues, which there is in every game. They release a game, and I'm like, yo, this is fun as fuck. And then I get bored because there's not enough to do. And that's pretty much where Smite 2 is, too. Is they release it, I'm like, this is fun as fuck. And then I understand when people are like, there's nothing to do. The reason I'm still cool with chilling and doing it is because I'm streaming at the same time I'm chatting with y'all. That's more important to me, right? I like Smite game. I'm having fun while I'm playing, but honestly, I'm half paying attention. I'm chatting with y'all. If the alpha was a mistake, I don't think the alpha was a mistake, but like let's put it to you this way, play it. If they didn't see it all year until right now, that'd be fine. If they saw what I'm playing right now as their first impression, the perception is night and day different. And then let's say you want it as a true alpha to where you get it from August 27th until right now, you get it for about 5 weeks. Right? You get it for about 5 weeks. Let's say you got it for about 5 weeks right now. And then they said, okay, that's it. That's all you get. You'll get the rest after the launch, or after not after the launch tournament, but like you get this, in February. And instead of doing a launch tournament, we're just going to do a content creator cup where we invite, we do a world like we would normally do. We fully launch Smite 2. Going into post world is going to be open beta, and then for beta you announce no paywall, 50 gods, 5 game modes, a ranked scene. Here's what we're doing for competitive for next year, and you just invite everybody to Worlds for a content creator cup where you take week in Incon, all the top players, and they all have like teams of other like maybe smaller creators, and we just play some fun little tournament on the finalized product that they're going to be launching for beta. And this is what I've said even in that video 3 weeks ago, is that possibly they could have done stuff differently. I don't know if it would have worked out better or worse, but looking at like all of this now, I don't think the alpha was a mistake by any means. I still don't. My opinion on the alpha hasn't changed. I still talked about the perception of the alpha could have been a little different, but also the hate they got throughout this summer led us to the better product, and the better product is more important than the perception long term. Not in the short term, but definitely in the long term. Do you think it's wild they discontinued Blue? I mean, just because I like it doesn't mean other people do. So, no. The 24/7 alpha should have been an alpha weekend. They could have had NDA secret testers for the last few months longer. Well, I mean, yeah, we've been testing it since January. The only issue I have with the testers, transparently and without specifics, because it is... Even stuff just said in there by the other people is kind of private because it is an NDA server, so I don't want to say like, well, this so-and-so creator would give this. There's a lot of people in there that are like yes men for Hi-Rez. And not that there's anything wrong with that. I think it exists in all forms of any type of project. But there's a lot of people that are like, yo, this is just great. And sometimes it drowns out the like, no, it's not. Right? It just kind of drowns out the like, hey, no, it's not. Like, we need this changed, right? And I truly believe that a lot of the big, loud concerns they got from so many people for so long during the summer truly made them for sure have to shift and make a change, which is what brought us this better product. And I do believe that will help long term. No, I don't want to call anybody out, right? I don't want to call anybody out. I respect the people that truly... They're almost the same as me. Some people who don't really know me would say I'm a yes man as well, where sometimes I defend Hi-Rez. It's just at some point there's a limit. And I'm more supporting the devs with my sentiment than Hi-Rez, right? The Smite devs are not killing Smite. The Smite devs are the only reason that Smite is alive. They're the only reason that Hi-Rez hasn't failed. But yeah. Oh, he did forget Realm. Realm is the biggest fumble of Okay, hot take here. If they don't fumble, if they make the singular decision to not change the Forge system and not act like that is a dev issue. This is an outlier. I usually say it's not the dev issues. If the devs never make the decision to change the Forge system Realm Royale continues to blow the fuck up. And not only does it do that, it clears any high-res reputation issues that ever existed, and it gives Hi-Rez a cash cow that is supersedes what Smite has ever been for them, which makes Hi-Rez a more reputable tier 1 game development company, which then brings more legitimacy to Smite as a whole, and Smite thrives off the success of Realm Royale, removing the negative connotations that Hi-Rez can't develop games properly. Is stream lagging? I don't have any dropped frames at the moment. Is like my voice cutting in and out and stuff, or what? Says my stream quality is good. No cuts over here. You'll appreciate you, yes. Realm Royale was, if you guys didn't see, Realm Royale might have been the biggest fumble in gaming history. That's a little dramatic. If you guys don't know what it was, if you guys, oh man, if you guys don't know what it was, Realm Royale basically came out, and it was a battle royale that came out right around the time that Fortnite was hitting peak popularity. So a lot of people were interested in branching out to some new stuff, like all the top content creators do. They did pay some top creators, Shroud, Ninja, and all those people to come play the game. However, the good thing was after the sponsored stream, those players continued to play the game. Yeah, I didn't drop any frames, so they continued to play the game even after the sponsored stream. So you could look back and you could see, like, you know, hashtag ad Realm Royale, whatever. But they continued to play it for the weeks following it. And what the Forge system was, think about Fortnite, but instead of finding things only in chests and on players when you kill them, you actually had an Apex style area, you know, where you can like make stuff. But the thing about Realm Royale that was unique was when you played as certain characters, you could get their legendary weapons. And the legendary weapons, so think about getting the gold scar, but it's unique to the character that you have. And that was the difference that Realm Royale had compared to like Fortnite, was you had weapons specific, you had characters that had specific weapons, and if you got their legendary weapon, you know, you would obviously put yourself in a much better situation, similar to how if you got a gold scar in early Fortnite, or you had just like a blue or even just like a green one, you're gonna have a lot better of an opportunity to win. And the thing that people liked about that was you could control these points that people would need to go there with resources to make their legendary weapons, but if they died going to there to make them, you could take their resources and then make your better weapons. So it added an element of it added a skill ceiling element to where if you were better, there was a higher opportunity for you to win because you could control that point and get enough kills. And if people kept coming there, they could keep feeding you that, rather than, you know, Apex and Fortnite and all these games where it's just RNG loot chests, right? Where you just like, you find something in a chest and all of a sudden, I got the best armor in the game now. In that game, it was about being able to control the Forge system. And the top end players really liked that. They liked that there was a facet of the game that relied on skill to give you a better opportunity to win rather than just RNG opening chests. And they announced in some patch notes or something that they were going to change this Forge system. Rather than have the Forge system of being able to upgrade your weapons legendary, they were going to add chests to the game similar to how all the other games do it. And it was unanimous across the board. That Apex has a similar forging mechanic, but it's almost like randomized what you can get in that Forge system. So it's like it's randomized, and people don't really there's so many of them that people don't necessarily have to go to them, and you never even have to. In Realm Royale, like, if you didn't go to a Forge, like, you might be getting into an endgame fight with your, like, 2nd grade weapon instead of your 5th grade legendary, right? So, like, going to the Forge was almost a key must point, and controlling that point as the circle moved allowed players to force areas where they needed to fight rather than just fight because the circle's getting smaller. But, like, controlling that point meant you could get better weapons, which means you could give yourself the opportunity to win that next fight. And I do have the numbers up here. June 2018, 32,000 average, 104,000 And then decisions were made to change literally over the first 6 weeks. And we went from a peak of 104 to 23 to 9 to 3 to 2. And then I think they might have made some changes to try and bring some people back, but it was not the Forge system change. And then it's just never recovered. Literally the biggest fumble. 104,000 peak to 23 to 9. And they made the decision early on. Super early on. I'm talking like it came out. Everyone was playing it. They made the change within the first like 5 or 6 weeks. And it was genuinely the quickest death of a game I've ever seen in my life. Imagine Hi-Rez launching a game right now with 100,000 peak. That's deadlock numbers. Brother?
Do you want to give it to him?
What? For what?
We had ordered them.
Oh, I thought he gets them on like Friday after school. You can do whatever. I don't care. But yeah, so they announced in some patch notes that they were going to be making a change to the Forge system, and it was going to be changing to the Fortnite Warzone thing where you kind of find chests and it's RNG rather than skill. That's going to determine how quickly or efficiently you get your legendary weapons. It was almost unanimous. Ninja was talking about it. Lupo was talking about it. Tim was talking about it. Fucking Keemstar was talking about it. He was talking about doing, like, he was literally had like a Keemstar skin in the fucking game. Right? Like, it like they were doing like how they did Friday Fortnights, which would have literally millions of viewers across all the streamers. He was going to start doing that in Realm Royale. They announced that they were going to make this change unanimously across the board. Everybody tweeted, everybody said, do not change this. This is what we like about your game. And what did they do? They changed it anyway and killed their fucking game faster than I've ever seen a game die in my life. In a 3-month span, a 1-quarter span, they went from 104,000 peak to 2,000 in a quarter. That is wild, bro. If they do not fuck this up, if they do not make that single change, I don't know who made the decision. I don't know. If they did not make this singular change, Hi-Rez and Smite flourish over the next 6 years. Flourish. Because then they don't have to worry about Smite just being their cash cow, and they can invest in Smite, and they could make that change to Smite too. They could bring on, instead of 450 employees, they could bring on 900, because that game, Realm Royale, would make 10x what Smite ever made. Realm Royale would make 10. Okay. Smite's very successful, maybe not 10x. Realm Royale, a popular battle royale, when battle royale games are at their peak of interest, it for sure surpasses Smite as their cash cow, and then they can invest in Smite on the backside instead of using Smite funds to make new games that fail. They could actually take, you know what? If they don't make this singular decision, not only does Realm Royale not fail, I think their next 3 to 5 projects also don't fail. Because they don't feel financially obligated to push them out to the player base and get people to start paying for it and start trying it. So I'll take that one step further on my hot take here. If they don't make the singular decision to get rid of Forge, not only does Realm Royale not fail, DKO doesn't fail, Rogue Company doesn't fail, because people don't get it too soon. Because they don't feel financially obligated to get some return on their initial investment and push the game out before it's ready. Because that's what they do on every fucking game. They push the game out before it's ready. And I understand with Smite, okay, that I'm not using Smite as an example, because Smite, I'm still of the mind that I don't think they pushed out too early. I think Smite, since so many people are so passionate about what they want Smite to be, since it's a sequel, you want it to be what Smite was. You have an expectation on how you want it to feel. I think it's actually important that we've had an alpha to get feedback on how people want Smite 2 to feel, considering it's an alpha and it's on a new engine. So that's not the same as the other new games they made. But if they release DKO at 24 months into development, or if not 24 months, accelerated 12-month progress to where you have like a bigger team working on it, so there's a lot more content out a lot earlier, and you can actually invest in the esports. And then not only that, but since you're making money off Realm Royale, you can also invest into Smite 1 esports and not have people having to play in-house. I'll take that a step further. If they don't fuck up Realm Royale in this one singular change, not only is Realm Royale not dead, every single project they've done since then is also a success. I don't know why you're under suspicious user, Meeks. There you go. Why doesn't Hi-Rez go public? Because the people that own Hi-Rez are doing this out of a passion project because they like games and they have money that they don't know what to do with. And they don't want other people to own any. If they go public, then any singular person could come in and buy shares at whatever the perceived value is. And a lot of times right now, Smite's perceived value within the stock market would not be good, which means not a lot of people would invest in it, which means some singular investor could come in and buy majority shares and start taking the decision making over. And they don't want that because they want this to be their game. The lowest they would sell it for is 250 million. The lowest they would sell it for over the last 5 years is 250 million, and that probably still hasn't changed because, in my opinion, they wouldn't even sell it with a $150 million offer right now, even if it's on the verge of dying, because this is a passion project for them. They don't care about the money it makes them so much as they want the game to be successful, so it'll have legacy on something they've created, in my opinion.